Hi, welcome to Blinkity Bloop. I'm Drew D'Amelia.
And I'm Nick Padula.
And this is a podcast where we talk about movies that have come out recently. And I'm sure a lot of you know this, but I just want to make sure we're all on the same page here. Blinkity Bloop is two different things. It's a band that does amazing music. I mean, am I right or am I right?
You are absolutely 100% right.
And also, it's this. It's a podcast about movies.
And just to, split them apart further, the music has been with us for as long as we can remember.
Oh, yeah.
And the podcast, it's only been like a year, so...
Not even
a year. It feels longer for some reason.
So let that speak for itself.
Okay.
Right?
But anyways, our experience is chiefly music, but hey, we're picking up on this film criticism thing, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, music is music, and... film is film.
Yeah. Yep.
Music is amazing.
No more to say than that, I guess.
Yeah. So, guess what? We got another purple hat. We got more movies that we've seen this year in this purple hat.
Oh, yeah.
And we are going to continue to pick some movies. However, I do have to say something, Nick.
Okay.
I discovered that last time, it's supposed to go, you, me, you, me, you, me.
Right.
But at one point, it went you, me.
That doesn't sound right.
Yeah, because we skipped my turn and gave it to you, and then you did it again.
Really? That doesn't seem right.
No, that happened.
Why didn't you stop me?
We just didn't notice. Because I think, hold on, the order, it went you, then me, then you, then me, then you, then you, then you, then me, then you, then me.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry.
It's okay. It just means that I get some bonus picks this time.
All right, I guess.
I hope you're prepared for that. Because last time you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I only had 4.
Well, that's only fair, so yeah.
So this time, we're going to skip you.
Okay.
Would you like to pick from the hat?
Didn't you just say you're skipping me?
Not yet!
Oh. Well, okay. Okay, reaching into this lovely hat once again. Oh, lovely hat, how I have missed thee. Let me count the ways.
I can't talk. Doesn't know what you're saying.
What? Oh, fuck. Unrequited hat love. Okay, this film is, people classify it as a kid's film, but I'd say it's for all ages, because it's got something for everybody. It's got something for the kids, it's got little fun cartoon characters and silly little kid adventures. And for the adults, they've got some, adult humor in there that kids might not necessarily pick up on. But it's for the whole family.
It's a very detailed little summary you gave. What is this movie?
Whoa, this is a really crazy coincidence. It's the Happytime Murders.
Oh!
That worked out really well.
That's not for kids.
But the genre...
It has puppetry in it. But it's not for kids at all.
The tagline is "No Sesame, All Street," so it plays on the expectation. Oof. It plays on the expectation that puppets are only a kid's genre.
Yes, and I get that, but it's annoying because puppets don't have to just be for kids. Puppets are a medium, not a genre. They're not bound to any specific kind of style or storytelling.
They're bound by strings, though.
Not necessarily.
Oh, yeah. No, not these kind.
Not in this movie.
No, I'm thinking of the marionettes like in Team America World Police.
I mean, come on. But yeah, this isn't for the kids.
Absolutely not.
Now, let me tell you my experience with this movie.
Okay.
I've known about it for 10 years. You might be thinking, goodness me, that's a long time ago. Yes, this screenplay has been going around for a long time. And when I first heard about it, I thought, that is something that really appeals to me. It was the idea of doing a dark comedy with puppetry. And I like seeing something that is usually used for one thing being pushed into another thing. It just feels really creative, boundary pushing. It tickles all the right things on my body, if you know what I mean. So I was waiting anxiously for this movie to come out. I kept looking up news, and it was just being pushed around, and then finally, they were actually gonna make it.
Ooh.
And they started attaching some stars, and I went, wow, this is so great. I'm so excited. And then I saw the trailer, The advertising rolled itself out, and it looked like it was gonna be a bunch of fucking shit, because it looked like they were really playing up the let's do adult stuff, and you had a puppet coming with silly string, like, oh man, look at that. Like, hey, we're hookers, we have sex for money, and we're puppets. And it looked like it was going to be another sausage party where it just fucking failed and thought that the idea that things you wouldn't expect to be raunchy being raunchy was funny enough when it wasn't.
Except apparently people liked Sausage Party, which neither of us can understand.
No, and that's a whole other discussion.
Yep.
That is important to clarify, though. We're not Sausage Party fans at all.
Nope.
So I gave up hope immediately.
Understandable.
And it was a bummer. And yes, as you said, no Sesame All Street hurt, because you don't have to posture yourself as being the anti-Sesame Street. You can just be your own thing.
Yeah.
I get why they're doing it, but you could just be your own thing.
You don't even have to acknowledge outside puppet things.
It doesn't even make that much sense if you think about it, because, I mean, Sesame Street was kind of an urban environment, and so is this. I mean, they're both street.
Yeah.
But I'm nitpicking at what they're saying.
Are they saying there's no sesame seeds in this?
That was bad.
Yeah, you're right. I don't know.
But here's the thing about the movie. I wound up really liking it when I saw it. I went in saying this is going to be the worst movie of the year.
Yeah, I remember.
And I left going, this is pretty much exactly what I wanted it to be. However, my cohort over here had a different opinion.
I wouldn't say it's the worst movie of the year. I wouldn't even put it in the bottom 10 of what I've seen, but I'd say it's middle of the road for me. It definitely surpassed my expectations, but that doesn't mean it was good, because my expectations were a very low bar, so it was very easy to pass that bar. And I found myself laughing occasionally, and even with those laughs, I'm like, well, I wasn't expecting to do that.
I'll say this in defense of it, is that, one, I feel the characters were genuine characters. You had this sort of stereotypical, yet classic is another way you could put it, kind of rough cop that's had a bit of a past, but has a good heart at the end of it, who happens to be a puppet. And then he had his teammate, who was also sort of rough around the edges in her own way, and they both just seemed like actual characters. It didn't break the fourth wall so many times, or it wasn't being too ridiculous to the point where they didn't actually feel like genuine characters. So that worked for me a lot. The fact that all of these characters that were in it, they had this life being breathed into them and this personality. I mean, it helps. This is made by the Henson people, and they really fucking know how to bring characters to life, and I really feel they were successful. Each of these puppets really had this unique look and personality to them, and I liked that a lot. And I also really liked just seeing puppetry and puppets. I mean, this was remarkable stuff, I feel, because you don't really get to see that in theaters, especially not in an R-rated setting. So it was really unique to me. And the reason that I thought I really wasn't going to like it is because I thought they would just bash you over the head with all these dirty jokes, and that it would be really annoying, and that it wouldn't serve the story at all. The thing is, though, I felt that there was an actual story here. Was it the most amazing story? No. Could people see the twist coming? Yeah, I personally didn't necessarily see it coming from the beginning or anything. But it was a story nonetheless. It was a murder mystery. It felt pretty solid. It was a bunch of people from a cast of an old show are being picked off, and the two cops are trying to figure out why. It's standard, but it makes sense. It's solid. It kept going. And I felt that when there were dirty jokes, which there weren't, it wasn't like every joke was dirty. I mean, it was definitely a raunchy movie and a gritty movie, but it wasn't poop jokes and cum jokes every minute.
Not like Sausage Party.
I felt when they happened, though, that they served the plot in some way. I mean, when the two characters fucked and there was silly string, it made sense in the context of it. It didn't necessarily come completely out of nowhere. It was worked in organically enough.
Yeah.
And then when the puppet's dick was bitten, that was happening in the middle of a fight that made sense because a cop made a crack about his dead brother. And so the fight happened and his dick got bit. It wasn't just that, I'm going to bite your dick now, chomp. No, it was worked in there. And that's what I was mostly afraid of, that these dirty jokes would just happen and it wouldn't do anything or it wouldn't fit in. But they were put in there carefully enough. There was some effort there. Yeah. So I will admit, I feel like it was sort of an easy win for me because I was just happy to see not just puppetry, but puppetry serving a different kind of genre like this. I thought that it was a really fun bundle. I admit it could have been tighter as a movie, but overall, I can't think of much that I would have rather had it do other than just being even better.
I could think of something right off the top of my head.
Okay.
Recasting Melissa McCarthy.
See, why though?
Her improvisation when it comes to comedy is like garbage.
Okay, well, maybe. But you could also just have the editor not include the improv. And she didn't improv that much in the movie. I know which scene you're probably referring to. It's when she was on puppet drugs and she just kind of kept on saying some loopy things a little longer than anybody really wanted to hear her say loopy things. And, I mean, it was very basic, and I didn't particularly like it, but I feel that I've seen Melissa McCarthy do a lot more bad improv in other movies.
Well, yeah.
Life of the Party.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. I feel it was pretty tapered down in this specifically. You can tell there was a script here.
Yeah.
And there wasn't as much wiggle room for her to just shit things out.
Yeah, there were a few examples, but I guess overall you are right. She was mostly sticking to a structure. And that's what she needs, a structure, because if she ventures outside of it, she flounders completely.
And can I just point this out? I don't know if anybody noticed this. I never for a second doubted that Melissa McCarthy was talking to these characters. And a lot of them, especially the main character she was constantly interacting with, was just a puppet. Mm-hmm. I felt that she did such a good job just conveying that these are actual creatures, just living, breathing things, instead of just a toy. I really feel that she at least deserves credit for bringing that to life, because it really felt genuine, and I wasn't thinking about it until the movie was just about over, but like she just sold it, I feel. Mm-hmm. Do you think she did?
I don't think it's that much of an accomplishment. If you're in a role, you can act those lines with no one in the room.
I know, but I feel that there is something to be said about really sincerely believing something that is not alive is alive.
Yeah.
It's a feat that could have gone wrong, and I don't know, I feel Melissa McCarthy did the right thing with that.
I feel like it would have been better if it was like Maya Rudolph or something. Even though she was in the movie, I feel like her comedy skills are stronger.
I don't know, though. Maya Rudolph actually annoyed me more with her improv in this movie.
It might have been the character.
That was my least favorite scene, is when it was just Melissa McCarthy and Maya Rudolph, and they were both kind of improvising, but it was mostly Maya Rudolph.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
That's because in the story, they're looking for evidence, and they're trying to bail someone out of jail, and it's really tense. And the improv Maya was doing just kind of sucked some of the tension out.
I see what you mean.
A little too much jokey stuff happen when it shouldn't be happening. And I'm like, just shut the fuck up. Come on. Save this for another scene.
Yeah.
So
fair. I guess it depends.
That's when improv bothers me the most, is when the story is trying to do one thing, but the improv's taking it in the wrong direction. Bad jokes are one thing, but derailing a plot, I think, is even worse.
Yeah, it is.
But I really don't think this movie was heavy on that much improv. I mean, it's hard to have it be heavy on improv when you got puppets. You really got to script a lot of shit out when you have puppets.
Definitely.
But, I mean, give me more. What else was bad about it?
I'm not really thinking of what else was bad at this point. I'm more just thinking about, like, the director, Brian Henson, I think it was. Is he related?
Yeah, I think he's the son of Jim Henson.
It's interesting. You think his dad would have approved?
I like to think so.
Yeah, I think he would.
I think his dad made something dark. I forget the name of
Dark
it.
Crystal?
Yeah, I guess literally dark. But yeah, I remember, I don't know if it was PG-13 exactly, but I remember he made a movie that had some darker undertones. And Jim Henson seems like someone that would like to see puppets pushed into this. It just might not have been his style. I mean, Jim Henson, obviously he must have liked the style of the Muppets because he made it happen.
Right.
So this is maybe more Brian's neck of the woods, and I feel it worked out. I kind of hope there's a sequel that does it even better, honestly.
That'd be cool.
But I was telling you after we left the theater, it is interesting because a lot of what makes this appealing to me is its uniqueness in the cinematic landscape.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Is that we don't have a lot of puppet movies that are jumping into genres like this. If this was a common thing, like 5 movies in the year were puppet murder mysteries that were raunchy, this wouldn't actually be special at all, really. You know what I mean? It'd have to do something else. And really, that's just speculative. I mean, you could apply that to pretty much any movie. And well, if there were 5 other movies like it, it wouldn't be special. Hey, that's what makes something unique, is the idea that this is a timeline that we're living in, and these are the movies we have.
Right.
But it is interesting because I want to see more puppet movies like this, but I also acknowledge that if I do, they're going to have to start doing something a little bit different to continue to stand out.
Right.
But I liked it a lot, man. It wasn't hilarious to me, but just the gimmick alone engaged me for the whole thing. It never got old to me.
I did think of another criticism I had. The racism allegory.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. So this is, in certain fantasy or science fiction settings, racism is used as an allegory, like people being racist against robots, people being racist against goblins or orcs, and it's a common trope in fiction. And I wasn't entirely surprised when I saw it in this, but it still rubbed me the wrong way with how they played it out, because it's just like, hey, you fucking, and they use like a made up puppet slur, like, you sock. I think sock was the most common
Yeah,
slur.
it was sock.
And I was just like,
I was going to say pupper, but
that's a cute name for a dog.
yeah, it would make like Colin say, oh, what a little pupper. What'd you say?
Uh-oh, you can't use that word.
That's their word.
That's not PC.
But I know what you're talking about. Right in the beginning of the movie, they establish this allegory, and they really don't do nearly enough with it to make it worth establishing in the first place. It's not... They kind of had a thing going where the main puppet character was originally the first puppet cop, but then he made a mistake any cop would make, but it made the cops think, all right, clearly puppets can't be cops. So that's where it played in the most.
Yeah.
Is that it gave a reason for the main character to have even more of a past to try to get over. And he didn't just let himself down, he let down all of puppet kind. And that was fine. But if they were going to use puppet racism to help bolster that motivation for the character, they should also do more with puppet racism in general. They really, when you introduce a concept that high, you really want to make sure you're very carefully tending to it.
Outside of that, most of the puppet racism was played off as a joke. Like, in the beginning, they showed a bunch of kids kicking around a homeless puppet, and they're like, "We're gonna take your eye out!" And they like.
And to be clear, they were human kids.
Yeah, they were human kids, and they were bullying this puppet, and it was supposed to be a joke. Like, you hear the audience laughing, and it's not like, because I feel like if kids were beating up an actual homeless person, it would make you very concerned,
especially a black homeless person.
Exactly, but in this, it's just like, haha, it's a puppet getting beaten up, so the racism allegory kind of falls apart.
That's a really good point, too, that I didn't think about, is that the whole joke here is that it's puppets. That's funny. But if you're introducing the racism allegory, then you're supposed to feel bad you're not taking puppets as seriously as humans, but that's what gives the movie its energy and its flair, is the fact that when puppets do it, it's different. It's funnier. It's like, yeah, maybe that is a very paradoxical thing to introduce into your movie,
like,
now that I think about it.
You'd have, like, a big Kermit the Frog cross burned in effigy in front of a puppet couple's house to scare them away. Like, you'd have, like, you'd have the KKK lynching puppets, basically, is the extreme extent you'd take it to.
So you wanted to see sort of a BlacKkKlansman style Happytime Murders.
I just want them to present racism in a more serious way. And besides for the main character, it was completely played off as a joke.
Yeah, and I would argue it just wasn't paid enough attention in the long run. They didn't spend a lot of time on it.
If you're going to make it a joke, make it a funny joke.
Yeah. So Happytime Murders, I liked it quite a bit. I would even go so far as to say it was a great movie, I suppose. Just skating into great territory, but
missing.
Not superb. Nick thinks it's just skating into good territory.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
Time for me to pick something, and let me tell you, we have another movie here that tackles racism.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you better believe it, Buster.
Hopefully they handle it more seriously in this film.
You know what? They really do. They really do, let me tell you.
Great.
In The Spy Who Dumped Me, you would not believe how affectionately they tackle racism.
That's great to hear. I didn't see this movie.
What?
No.
It was this movie of the summer.
Oh, man. I was reading the wrong newspapers.
It was not as bad as I thought it would be.
That's good.
It had a title that seemed real hacky and stupid.
Yeah.
And I guess I was just offended on behalf of womankind because it had two female leads, and the title just makes it seem like ordinarily you have cool spy movies about dudes and it's really serious, but when it's about women, it's like, oh, I got dumped. And that's what fueled me to see it, because I went, this seems stupid and offensive. Let me hate watch it.
Yeah, just from the get-go, I was like, this probably fails the Bechdel test.
And it's tricky because technically, yes, this is a movie that is about two females that are playing the schmuck characters. They're not spies, so you can look at The Spy Who Dumped Me and the assumptions I was making earlier where, oh, it's about when girls are the characters in a spy movie, they're just boo-hoo-hoo and things like that. You can technically interpret it like that, but I think the reason that I didn't feel compelled to interpret it like that is because I got what the movie was going for. The movie wasn't saying when women are in a spy movie, they go boo-hoo-hoo. It was more just saying, all right, these are average people sucked into this situation. Cool. Plus, they had moments where they were capable enough. Never capable on the level of actual spies, but capable enough. But, yeah, essentially, you can guess what kind of a movie it is based off what I already said. Schmucks being sucked into the spy world. Things like that. The action was better than you would think. It's pretty good. I was surprised by the chemistry between Mila Kunis and Kate McKinnon. It actually worked out really well. It seems like very strange casting, but I think the reason it worked out really well is Kate McKinnon usually is very good at playing eccentric characters, And I think in small doses, like an SNL, that can be pretty effective. But when you have to see a lot of it in a movie, it can get really annoying.
Right.
And I was very scared when this movie started because it had a rendition of her singing Happy Birthday, and she's just kicking her legs up in the air crazily. Happy Birthday! And I'm like,
Great.
oh, fuck.
Here we go.
I'm in for it. But that was pretty much, it's like she got it all out in that song. I went, okay, now let me be a little more
down to earth,
rounded out here.
Okay.
Let me seem like an actual human being that would exist in real life. That helped tremendously to help there be a chemistry between the two characters.
That's great.
Because if she was being a little too large for life, then I would just be staring at her like, I don't believe this is a real person, and the chemistry would completely fail. But no, Kate McKinnon kept it together. Okay. Yeah, and it worked. I was glad. Either she had good direction or Kate McKinnon had good thoughts while she was on set. But I don't know. Outside of that, it was just overall better than I thought it would be, but still nothing spectacular. You had okay jokes. There's some decent banter between the two girls. That's where most of the good jokes came from. And then some of the banter wasn't so great. There's Dick. I'm always happy to see...
Whose dick was it?
Some guy.
The spy who dumped her?
No, some other guy had his big old dick out.
So no Justin Theroux dick?
No. But dick nonetheless.
Okay. Any dick is good dick.
We're starting to see a lot more just full penis in movies.
Even it out with all the vaginas.
I haven't seen any vaginas in movies. I mean, well, I have, but I'm seeing way more dick lately.
Yeah.
I still feel like they're getting a little bit shy about showing vagina.
Yeah,
but
maybe
I hope
just
they get
everyone show everything.
Yeah. I mean,
but not all the time. Not in kids' movies.
Penis is a big step.
Yep.
I'm glad to see some penis.
We've seen plenty of ass. Enough
ass. Ass is fine.
Ass is over. Ass is so 2000 late.
It's like on the same level as kissing for longer than 5 seconds. Like,
yeah. Whatever. We've seen worse. But what I'm wondering is the spy who dumped her in the film, is he like a kind of parody of like the James Bond or Ethan Hunt type character?
He just is a spy. It's not a parody of a spy. Because the joke here is that it's real spies and these schmucks get involved, and that's what makes it a comedy. It's not a parody of spies.
Yeah.
It's more the wrong people getting into the spy world.
So it's not like playing up the like misogyny of 007 or something like that?
Not at all. Okay. Not really. No. It's just dumb relationship drama.
Gotcha.
And there's some twists you don't care about, and there's a romance you don't care about even more. But ultimately, it was good for some decent action here and there. And pretty fun characters that occasionally had some pretty fun moments. I didn't hate myself watching the movie.
That's always nice.
I think the spy angle for this comedy helped, because when the jokes weren't working, you at least said, well, the action could work, and sometimes it did.
Yeah.
So you had two things to hope would work instead of just depending on one.
All right.
So it was okay. Okay movie.
Fair enough.
All right, I'm mixing this hat up for you.
You're picking again, right? Because you have to go twice?
No.
You said you were going to go extra.
I will tell you when I am using my extra, okay?
Okay.
Here you go, buddy.
All right. Reach into the hat. Get in the hat. We've got a hat here. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. You take a lot longer to pick.
I want to make sure it's not...
I just gave it a shuffle, but I appreciate it. The extra shuffling helps. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so this film. Y'all know about my feelings about documentaries. Documentaries especially involving famous musicians. BlacKkKlansman.
Oh my. So, alright, BlacKkKlansman was also about racism, just like the Happytime Murders.
A bit of a difference, though, because this took it, I'd say, a bit more seriously, to say the least.
Yeah. I liked this movie a lot. I'd never seen a Spike Lee movie before, but it was just a very simple but fun premise for me of seeing, you might know the gimmick, it's a black person that essentially infiltrates the KKK by pretending to join it. And that alone just sets up so much dark comedy. It tickles like 3 parts of me at the same time, because at one point, just from a writing perspective, it's really creative. Just what they're doing here, it lights up that part of my brain that appreciates creativity. Then, this is some darkly comical stuff, because you have these racist people saying horribly racist things, and then you have the good guys, but because they're pretending to be in the KKK, they're also saying horribly racist things that you know they don't agree with, but it's just shocking and funny because of it. But at the same time, because this is dealing with race, and it does take itself seriously ultimately, it's also provocative. So I'm getting all 3 of these things at once, just from this simple premise that just feels right, man. And I liked it. I feel it didn't necessarily have too much of a story. You know what I mean? It kind of felt like it just hopped from scene to scene. And there was some progression, but it didn't feel like the biggest arc ever. You know what I mean?
No one really changed. The racist stayed racist. The good guys stayed good.
But it was just compelling enough where I didn't even care.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun to watch. And it was interesting because obviously you have a ruse where a lot of things could go wrong. And they set up so many different ways for the good guys to be found out. As, wait a minute, they don't really want to be in the Klan. But ultimately, none of those ways were the ways that they got found out.
Yeah.
It was something right out of left field. And at first that bothered me, but then I went, oh no, that's kind of interesting, because here I was anxious for all of these things, and it still wasn't any of them.
No.
I mean, you could argue that you didn't get the satisfaction of a payoff for one of those things, but at the same time, you get the satisfaction of an interesting twist.
Yeah. It worked on a lot of levels. In terms of comedy, it kept me laughing, and then at the same time, it confronts you with racism. Spike Lee does not shy away from showing you how fucked up and serious this organization is. Yeah, he plays them off as a joke. A lot of them are dumb hillbillies, like, yuck. And
there literally was a character that was basically like that.
Yeah, and that was hilarious. But at the same time, you see these dudes planning violent terrorist attacks, and this isn't a joke anymore. This isn't some dudes just harassing people on Facebook for being a different color than them. This is authentic domestic terrorism, and it's real scary, and he made sure to show us all of that and more. The comedy was also helped along with the fact that the police characters were constantly getting the upper hand on the Klan by gaining all this intel and making the Klan look like a bunch of idiots. Like, one example, David Duke, the head of the KKK, was on the phone with the main black dude, and he's like, oh, I can always tell a black guy apart from a proud Aryan, and he's literally talking to a black guy, and he gives all these examples of, like, vocabulary that black people use, and it's just, like, seeing this, like, supposedly brilliant example of the white race look like a complete fucking idiot was such a beautiful fucking takedown.
I didn't even think about that. A lot of what made the movie satisfying was the fact that the good guys did have the upper hand a lot of the time, and you wanted to see the KKK look like idiots and get fucked over, and that did happen for a lot of the movie. Not as much as we might be making it out to be, but in little doses, yeah. Just the fact that they were able to keep the ruse up was them having the upper hand, and they kept it up pretty much the entire movie. And yeah, I've heard some criticisms saying that this isn't the most accurate movie and that there were parts that were omitted or changed or things like that. And I couldn't speak to too much of that, but just as it is, as the story that was told, I felt that it was really fun, but ultimately very powerful.
Yeah.
And, I mean, Topher Grace, baby. you know I have a big old love for Topher Grace's work. I think I told you anything Topher Grace is in, I'll watch. Just anything at all.
He's talented.
He was really good in this. But then I saw what David Duke actually looked like, because I hadn't bothered to see what he looked like, because who gives a shit about David Duke?
Yeah, fuck
He's a piece of shit.
Yep.
But they actually had some footage of the real David Duke in this movie, and I went, oh, fuck me. Topher Grace really does have an uncanny resemblance. This is like Topher Grace's greatest role.
I'd say so.
Is David Duke.
And if you go back like 20 years, David Duke looks even more like Topher Grace, so it's real weird.
Which I did not do, but I kind of want to now.
Yeah.
I heard Topher Grace was so depressed preparing for this role, though.
Oh, yeah.
That to unwind, he just wound up editing his own fan cut of the Hobbit movies or something. I don't know if that's true exactly, because it was like a Facebook meme.
I read that too, actually. It might have been an article.
Maybe. But regardless, I can imagine that
it's a bit of a bummer.
Yeah, as fun as it was to watch Topher Grace play David Duke as the schmuck.
Yeah.
He was playing David Duke seriously, but the position David Duke was in made him a schmuck.
Yeah.
I can also imagine it's really hard just being that racist. And pretty much every character, good or bad, had to be in a position where they're saying really racist things. Mm-hmm. And I hope none of the actors in the movie were having an easy time with this. I'm actually very racist in real life.
I'm glad I get to say this stuff on a film. I've been waiting.
Awful the casting director just thinks, to get really authentic performances, let's get actual racists.
Actual neo-Nazis.
Oh, no.
Whoops.
But, yeah, it seems like one of those things that's a lot more fun to watch than actually participate in terms of the movie making.
Yeah, I imagine Spike Lee on set was like, all right, guys, let's have fun. It's just like he's recording the Klan scene, and he's obviously going to be dead serious, like the Klan watching Birth of a Nation or the Klan doing their ceremony of initiation. That wasn't a fun time.
Yeah, some scenes were definitely really draining, but I imagine that hopefully the actors were on board with the dark humor aspects of it.
Yeah.
I mean, to be a good actor, you have to understand that, yes, this is supposed to be comical.
Right.
Unless we really misinterpreted it. What if this
Why are you guys laughing?
Oh my God, this is on the level of 12 Years a Slave in terms of tone. What are you doing? Oh, shit.
I feel like a real goof.
I didn't know. I mean, they set it up right from the very beginning, as you have Alec Baldwin playing this white supremacist doing this propaganda video.
Yeah.
And I think it's the unedited cut is what they're going for, because you just see him delivering lines and being like, and just repeating them and then asking questions to someone off camera about the lines.
Pure-driven snow?
And it was great, and it was amazing, and he never showed up again. And I thought that, all right, well, that was really funny and interesting. But then the end of the movie had this real political punch where it said, all right, this is what the movie was, but guess what? Remember Charlottesville? And it showed you exactly what hand it wanted to play.
Yep.
And it showed some footage of Trump, and it put in my head, oh shit, is he doing a thing where he cast Alec Baldwin in the beginning to show a visual comparison there?
Yeah.
I imagine that's exactly what he was going for.
I read an interesting article about David Duke where he asked if this movie made him look stupid because he was worried about looking stupid. And he's like, because that stuff didn't really happen that way. And I do have a lot of respect for Spike Lee as an artist and a filmmaker. And I'm like, David Duke, are you fucking kidding me right now, David Duke? You fucking racist cocksucker.
Well, according to David Duke in the movie, which I'm going to take as being a fair representation of real David Duke, is he had a line saying, I have no problem with other races. I just think they should be kept separate. Maybe he's appreciating Spike Lee the way that people appreciated slaves doing a cakewalk. I mean, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but it also might be that he's as much of a fucking idiot as he is in the movie.
I mean, I don't care.
Not to get political, but I think the head of the KKK is a fucking idiot.
Oh, shit.
Oops.
That's a
little too spicy.
Dude, I don't know about that.
I can't just say the head of the KKK is an idiot. That's That's fucking divisive.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Ooh,
that you
maybe we should
denounced the head of the KKK.
Sorry,
like
you know what, KKK? You guys,
Uh-oh.
you exist.
Okay,
That's a nice neutral approach.
Yeah.
All right.
KKK
Safe.
is real.
They are there.
That's actually really scary, though.
Yeah.
That's
a political statement in itself.
That is a terrifying real. The KKK is real. Oh, shit. Oh, man. But yeah, I think it's safe to say that we both really enjoyed this movie. Right up my alley. I mean, I like dark stuff, but I also just like really creative swings, and this felt really creative.
Absolutely.
It took a great premise, and it really just ran with it all the way. Mm-hmm. And Spike Lee, he's got some style. He's got some spunk in him. I like him.
He's got some stuff to say. I'll give you that.
Yeah.
He's got some words.
That's true.
He's spilling some tea.
Yes.
He's roasting some omelets.
Okay, let's stop there.
Okay, yep.
I'm gonna pick a movie now. And let me tell you, this movie also dealt with racism.
Oh, we are dealing with a lot of racism.
Yeah, just like The Spy Who Dumped Me.
Yeah.
But it actually dealt with racism even better than BlacKkKlansman. Can you believe it?
That's hard to imagine.
I know, but listen, you're gonna understand when I reveal the movie that I've picked, which is Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation.
Jesus Christ. That's fucking...
I mean, to be fair, the movie is about how the granddaughter of who's vampire killer?
Van Helsing?
Yes, Van Helsing's granddaughter is racist against vampires and wants the vampires dead. And yeah, Van Helsing's in it and doesn't like all monsters, but I guess specifically Dracula. And the movie's basically the granddaughter's doing the dirty work for Van Helsing and gets all the monsters to go on a cruise and pretends to be the captain, but she wants to make them all dead.
So did they actually... Are you just fucking with me, or did they actually have aspects of prejudice?
No, that's been a thing in all the movies, really.
Oh, all right. Well, I didn't see any of the previous ones, so I wouldn't know.
It's probably definitely this more so than the other movies that prejudice thing comes out, especially because you have a character that really embodies it this time, one that's clearly disgusted by vampires, but pretending to be okay with them being integrated. Or...
Oh, so it's like a Get Out kind of thing. It's like Get Out for kids.
I guess it is. That's a weird way to put it.
Yep.
You got Joe Jonas voice like a giant singing squid monster. Like, Get Out for kids. Adam Sandler stars in Get Out Jr. Whoops. But you've seen all the Hotel Transylvania movies, right?
I've seen none of them.
What?
Sorry to shock you.
I really like them.
Okay.
And here's the thing. It's done by a really, really good animator. You might know him from Dexter's Laboratory.
Oh.
And he did a lot of other cartoons,
he's
too.
He's doing 3D stuff now?
Yeah, he's done all the Hotel Transylvania movies. And he's just great at what he does. It's very, very cartoony.
That's nice.
And yes, you have a lot of animated movies out, but you don't necessarily see movies as cartoony as this. I would say that this is the cartooniest stuff that they have in theaters these days. Way more than Despicable Me, which I suppose would be a distant second. Pixar, Disney, not even close.
No.
They don't push that shit very much. Hotel Transylvania, though, that is the shit I like.
And when you say cartoony, you mean like old-fashioned animation, like the squash and stretch and like
exactly,
Looney
lots of
Tunes?
squash and stretch, just very exaggerated, hyper-realistic movements, really pushing the animation medium and making these characters pop a lot.
Okay.
And just seeing that for 90 minutes is a lot of fun. I don't even necessarily care about the characters or the story or what happens. It's just fun. And you got monsters too, so you have a lot of creative things you can do with all these different kind of characters. So that's fun too. It's just a fun movie. And yeah, at this point, there's a few too many characters and some things kind of get lost in the story because you don't have as much time to spend with all these different characters. But either way, it's a good time, man. I feel like it had a really fun, stupid ending that brilliantly incorporated the stereotypical cartoon dance finale.
Oh, huh.
It worked out real well.
Interesting. And wasn't Steve Buscemi in this?
Yes, he's been in all three.
Wow, that's great.
He's the werewolf.
Oh, wow, that's great casting. And the last movie we reviewed with Steve Buscemi was Death of Stalin.
Oh, yes.
Which is very weird connection.
It's basically the same character.
Okay, so he was trying to rise up through the ranks through, like, a corrupt government.
Actually, I just thought of this. And yes, by the way.
Oh,
no. But he plays a werewolf, but is he a werewolf? I've never seen him in human form.
Sometimes,
so maybe he's just stuck as a werewolf?
In werewolf lore, if too many full moons rise up before you cure your werewolfism, you're stuck as a werewolf.
That must be it.
Yep, that's probably the logic.
But yeah, I really like the voice performances in this too. They're really, really good, especially the captain, who's played by the incomparable little lady that's an actress. I can't remember her name.
What?
Yeah, there's a good actress that plays the Van Helsing's granddaughter captain.
Could you recognize what else she was in from her voice?
Yeah, she was in other movies I can't remember.
Oh, all right. Well, that doesn't help me at all.
No, it doesn't. But she was good, and that's all you need to know.
How was Adam Sandler?
It's probably his best role.
In any of his movies ever?
It's not like there's a tremendously high bar, I don't think.
I mean, the only one I can think of is Punch Drunk Love. He was better than Punch Drunk Love.
Oh, in Punch Drunk Love, he was different, but not necessarily exceptional. You know what I mean?
No.
I feel his talents lie in comedy.
Yeah.
And he just does it well here. It's so weird. I keep watching the movie wanting to find a way where I can think, Adam Sandler's voice does not fit Dracula. This doesn't make sense. Because you wouldn't think it would make sense. No. Adam Sandler is Dracula. Like, what? But I just watch it and I listen and it feels so right.
Huh.
And it's the same way with all of the standard Adam Sandler cronies in this. Kevin James just feels right as Frankenstein's monster.
Wow. Huh.
Steve Buscemi feels right as a werewolf.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Huh.
It happened to come together that a legendary animator was able to make an Adam Sandler style project that just really worked for me. And I do like the animations. So, I'm biased here.
Yeah.
Ultimately, is it the strongest storytelling effort ever committed to screen?
Yeah.
Yes. And a potent racism allegory at that. Yeah, it's a good time.
Okay.
You know what else is going to be a good time?
What?
If you pick from this hat for me, pal.
Oh, this will be a great time. Oh, wow. Here we go. In the hat. Yep. Got it.
You having fun there, buddy?
I'm having a ton.
You're spending so much time. You know what?
Sorry.
I spent a lot of time last time, too.
All right. So, anyways, this film. Oh, man. Real tearjerker. You know Titanic?
Yes, I've heard of it. I cried.
Well, like many real-life disasters, this is going to make you cry. This is about the Hindenburg.
Oh, wow. This is a very specific movie now.
And we've never, I don't think, from my recollection, I don't think the Hindenburg incident has been committed to film yet. So this is groundbreaking.
Yeah, we finally saw the Hindenburg film. Man,
yep.
What was it called?
Let me tell you. It was Puzzle? Another movie I didn't see, but from the trailers, I think I know what it's about.
How have you heard of it? I had no idea what Puzzle was.
I saw another movie at an indie theater, and the trailer for it played, and it's an indie movie.
Okay. I only saw Puzzle for 2 reasons. One, I like puzzles.
That helps.
And it's Puzzle, the movies. I'm like, well, okay, I'm in.
And finally, an adaptation of the classic board game.
I guess it is a board game, yeah. But then they had Kelly MacDonald. Is that on the Brave? She was
Kelly.
Merida.
I'm pretty sure it's Kelly MacDonald.
Okay. And I like her a lot as an actress.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't seen her in too much initially, but the more I've seen her, the more I realize how versatile she is.
Yeah.
And she's quite attractive.
That helps.
So, yeah, I thought she would probably show her bits off in Puzzle.
Oh, my Jesus Christ. Your body's a puzzle.
If you're ever gonna get naked, isn't it gonna be in puzzle?
Like when you piece the pieces together, it's Kelly McDonald naked. And then she comes out of the puzzle and has sex with you.
It's so weird if puzzle is just very pornographic.
Just getting fucked while doing a puzzle. Just like, oh man, I'm missing the corner piece. Oh.
That would be a great angle. But ultimately, it was just about people coming together, and a puzzle was the backdrop. And it was just some light drama about the relationships between people. Not much there, but it was done well, because they were pretty compelling characters. I liked the situations that they were all in. Kelly MacDonald was a really interesting character who had a lot of passion, but was very kind of quiet about it. And the passion came out in these weird ways that didn't exactly gel with people when it came out. So it was really captivating to watch her work. And the puzzle aspect was boring as shit. Let's not tell any lies here.
So it didn't do justice to what you hoped a puzzle movie would be.
I was pretty sure a puzzle movie was going to be a bunch of bullshit anyway. How do you adapt to making a puzzle? I knew that's not what it was going to be. I was seeing it under completely false pretenses. I knew it, and I still went to watch it.
Yeah.
But it helped to have... you got to see puzzles being made, and they were talking about it a little bit, so I went, aha, yes. Puzzles are indeed great.
And didn't she, from the trailer, I got the impression she struggled because she was so fascinated with puzzle life and doing puzzles with her puzzle buddy that her family was like, hey, don't forget about us.
Well, I'll just say this, that puzzle buddies can indeed reap some dangerous seeds.
So they fucked?
Yes, but that's not what I... Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't think it was a romance.
Yeah, it's kind of romantic.
Huh.
I mean, it is puzzle.
How did the husband feel about it? The puzzles and the fucking.
He was indifferent about one of them and very upset about the other.
Oh man, how am I gonna figure out which it is?
I don't know. It's a bit of a puzzle.
Whoa.
But yeah. Maybe not the perfect movie to be called Puzzle. I want to see a genuine puzzle adaptation.
It can't be called Jigsaw, because that's from the Saw series.
I'm fine if it's also just call it Puzzle the movie, and I'll be okay with it. Maybe I'll do it. I don't know. If I ever find time outside of doing the band stuff, which is probably never going to happen, obviously, but...
You'd want to do a puzzle. Is that your third thing after music, the podcast?
Oh, God, don't put the podcast on that list. It's just music, baby.
So after music, your next priority would be making a movie about puzzles?
You know, and I would feel more comfortable paying someone with the money our band will make.
Okay, that's
to make
fair.
Puzzle
like being
movie.
a producer of a puzzle movie.
Yeah. Okay. Or we could write a song about puzzles.
And then have it be the inspiration for a movie.
Now we got something cooking here.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
But yeah,
Keep that in mind.
This is a good time.
Yeah, okay. I'm probably not going to see it, but whatever.
All right. Are you going to see the movie that you pick out of this hat?
We'll find out. Reaching into the hat. Okay. I tried to be a little quicker this time.
That was very quick. I'm impressed.
Yeah. So, this movie, speaking of quick, you know the Justice League, right?
Wait a minute. What? No, it was my turn to pick from the hat.
Oh, shit.
Fuck!
I didn't see it yet. So
No. You already picked it, so you have to have it.
Wait, how about, what if I hand the slip to you?
No. It's your pick. It won't be my pick. So now I get even more extras.
That's fine.
This is my fault. On my own undoing, I put off getting my bonuses so much that I just gave it back to you.
Thought
now
we
you
were
get 2
keeping
picks in a row.
track.
I was doing so well, but I totally forgot.
Oh, well.
All right, I get the rest of the picks then, Buster.
Okay, that's fine. That's even. Okay, anyways, you know the Justice League, right?
Yes.
So, we're finally getting a movie about the Flash. And not an animated movie, but live action.
These are very specific draws that you... This is great, okay.
Yeah. So, it's not called The Flash, though. It's called The Miseducation of Cameron Post.
Oh. Well, yes, the gay conversion therapy movie.
Made by DC.
When Flash was revealed to be gay.
And Batman forced him into a conversion camp.
Let's get the gay out of you. Quickly. But I had not seen a movie about gay conversion therapy camp before, and I feel that this did everything right. It was a really, really good movie. I mean, if you're on the side of sympathizing with gay people being trapped in a camp that's trying to make them not be gay anymore, then this is some really compelling drama.
But what if you're not?
Then I guess it's porn for you, but...
Yes!
But yeah, it's beautiful and fun at times and heartbreaking, and it's just fascinating ultimately to watch it all happen, you know what I mean? Because I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah. And it's not as brutal as electroshock therapy or anything like that, but it's definitely trying to condition people to change their sexual orientation. And just watching the way it unfolds, it's really something to see. Yeah. And you have Cameron Post is played by the star of I Love You, Daddy. That
Chloe Grace
yes,
Moretz.
Yes, that's what she'll be remembered for.
No, I remember her as Hit Girl.
Yeah, me too. But Chloe Grace Moretz, the future Little Mermaid, I think.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Real? I thought it was someone else.
Zendaya.
I didn't. That wasn't the first thing I jumped to, but I thought it was someone who was a bit less pale, I'd say.
Who are you thinking?
Someone who isn't white. I don't know. I thought I saw, maybe it was a fan-made poster, but it was, I don't even know the actress.
There's another mermaid movie called The Little Mermaid that came out that was not Disney's movie, so maybe that has someone that wasn't white.
Maybe. I don't know. Anyway.
Right.
Little Mermaid.
This was maybe the best performance I've ever seen her give.
Cool.
There's just something really... You could tell that she really didn't want to be there, that she really wanted to fight it, but she wasn't a really aggressive person ultimately. So you got to see a lot of subtlety in her performance with all the push and pull, and it was really tense, honestly. A lot of the movie was tense because you're just watching these characters and you feel for them and you don't know what this environment is going to do to them.
Right.
And you see some of the consequences ranging from minor to drastic, and it gets intense.
I can imagine.
It does. But I really do recommend the movie. If you're the kind of person that can get into something like this, is really worth seeing. It really is.
I definitely want to see it.
Why didn't you?
It wasn't...
You hate the gays!
You got me!
Oh, Nick, he's getting away!
It's me, anti-gay man!
Shoot
me if you can!
Shoot down his beautiful rainbow anti-gay blimp!
Hey, wait, don't do... Oh,
man.
Wow.
I'm glad the Justice League was here to say
The Flash got his revenge.
We brought it back, baby! But it's my turn.
All right.
And, I gotta say, the way that movie tackled homosexuality, well, this movie tackles racism.
We have a lot of movies
just as
tackling racism.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. It tackles racism even better than that movie tackled homosexuality.
Wow.
That movie, of course, is Crazy Rich Asians.
Actually, this might work a little. It doesn't, from what I can tell, I didn't see it, but from what I can tell, it doesn't involve racism, but it involves breaking stereotypical Asian tropes.
It kind of has in-race racism, I suppose. There's Asians that are bothered by American Asians for being American.
Huh.
But I guess it's not exactly racism.
Is it like classism?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's about a kind of average American girl going into a rich Asian family because she's gonna marry this guy. As a story, it's pretty fine. It's just, pretty standard romance. If everyone wasn't Asian, I don't think it would stand out too much, though I shouldn't even say that because stylistically, it was a really vibrant movie. I have to give it that.
Okay.
So it did stand out in that way. But easily what I think was the best part of the movie, aside from the fact that, obviously diversity-wise it was great, is that I didn't recognize a lot of the performers in it, but some of them I did, like Ken Jeong, the guy from
Community?
the show I keep calling Entourage, but it's actually Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
The Asian in that. I don't know. I've never known his name. And I think Aquafina that was in Ocean's 8.
Huh.
The three of them, I've seen Ken Jeong in a lot more than the other two, respectively, but I've seen all three of them in other roles in different movies that weren't all Asian. And the way my mind worked, it's not like I was bothered or offended that they were Asian in the movies, but my brain, something lit up telling me, they're Asian. Because I think in these movies it was predominantly white people.
Right.
And the race, when it's not white, it just lights that part of my brain up, just kind of identifying, okay, this is a unique factor that this person has. It's their race, which isn't inherently an offensive thing. It's just something my brain does. And I don't necessarily like it, but if you got 7 white people and 1 black person, I think brains are just kind of designed to notice things like that. Not in a mean way, just notice it.
And I think the issue with that is Hollywood films, more often than not, at least the mainstream ones, are overflowing with white roles and white characters. And when you do see Asian actors performing, their character is usually based in their culture or their race. And you don't see them perform as much just as plain old people.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And even when you do see an Asian character perform as just a plain old person, it doesn't matter that they're Asian. Still, a backdrop of mostly white characters, you notice their race.
Right.
What was so cool about this movie is, to cite Ken Jeong specifically, I saw him playing a side character, and that part of my brain didn't light up that said, he's Asian. Because everybody was Asian, it kind of just helped me see him in a whole new light, it's so weird, in an anti-Asian light.
Anti-Asian?
I know, where because everyone was Asian, it didn't matter at all that anybody was Asian. So it was just refreshing to be able to see Ken Jeong, and I can think about him as a performer, and his race doesn't play into it at all. And it was so weird, because I was kind of backtracking and thinking, wow, the fact that he's Asian has really been something I've noticed more than I'm comfortable with. Like in Community, the fact he's Asian doesn't come up that much in that show, but I was definitely thinking extensively, like, he is Asian. And the fact that there was such a difference when I was watching this movie and that light wasn't going off, it was almost troubling. But I'm thankful for movies like this that are helping to recondition me.
Yeah.
Because, I try. I swear I try. I really try. But there are certain things the brain just does, and I need to hammer down at me. Yeah. And Crazy Rich Asians hammered me hard.
Was there a lot of hammering going on in this movie?
No, I don't think there's too much banging, no.
Nuts.
But it was fine. And if you're scared, there was a white person for 2 seconds.
Phew!
Yeah.
Wow.
He was making someone a drink, and then he went away.
I was going to say the Asians are destroying our country, but no.
We have one white person for a couple seconds.
Okay, phew.
But yeah, it almost, I would compare it to the style of a really good classic musical, but without any of the musical numbers. It had that sort of flair and energy, and also sort of hackiness with the writing. The story was pretty basic and whatever, but it's still, like, the characters were developed enough where when things were happening, it felt earned and genuine. And there was actually there was disapproving mom, and the way that wound up playing out was really. I had a moment, like, the emotion gasp.
Oh, that's nice.
So yeah, I will say, while it was spunky, it wasn't the craziest thing. So there's more rich and more Asian than there is crazy, but
Okay.
it's fine. I always took it to mean crazy rich, like
As in
just very,
super
very rich.
yeah.
Not really crazy, rich, Asians. But
Would you say it rises above the conventional rom-com?
maybe a rom-com that was given mixed reviews by critics, kind of like a 50% or something, but I feel that it is very conventional. It didn't exactly rise above it outside of having an all-Asian cast.
Gotcha.
But it did it really well. So I think it would be a very well-received rom-com. And it is.
So you're saying Crazy Rich Asians is to rom-coms as Black Panther is to superhero films?
Yeah, that's a really, really apt way of putting it, actually. Huh.
I just thought of that.
Yeah. And that involves you having to remember our opinion on Black Panther. But I remember, so that's okay.
Yep.
Yeah. You think you want to see it?
I think so. I might.
Okay. Just make sure you do or you're going to be racist.
Oh, shit.
And guess who's picking again?
It's you.
It's me.
Get a bonus.
It's me. Here we go. All right, this movie, not even a shred of anything remotely related to racism.
Oh, wow. That's new.
Movie entirely devoid. Honestly, it was just kind of like a perfect utopia where there are no race problems at all.
Wow.
It was really satisfying. Yeah,
That's
just
nice.
really kind of a feel-good sort of fantasy movie.
Okay.
That movie, of course, is Ant-Man and the Wasp.
To be fair, it didn't have racism really in it.
I would argue I was completely right.
Yeah, I'd say so.
Ant-Man and the Wasp was a fun time.
It was.
Mostly just that gimmick of getting real tiny and getting real big. It's enough for me.
It's always a blast.
The ants is a little weird to me, but it's fine. I mean, it's very specific to this movie, and it works.
Yeah, I mean, if I were to see ants in a non-threatening way, I think the best way to see them is A Bug's Life. Definitely not the movie Ants. But if I were to
what if you had a Bug's Life style ant characters in this? Like Flick's hello. Flick was an inventor. Oh shit! This crossover needs to happen.
Send the letters to Marvel and Disney at once.
Disney owns both of them.
This would be perfect. Ant-Man 3, Flick's Revenge.
Flick confirmed for Avengers Infinity War.
Hopper returns with Thanos.
Oh my god. Thanos is eaten by baby birds.
No! And Flick's like, got him.
But yeah, ants, I guess you get acclimated to it. They look hyper-realistic, but fine. Yeah. Whatever. They make it as cute as they possibly can.
Yeah.
And you also get interdimensional shit. So it's just a lot of fun things going on at once. And it's got the Marvel touch of not taking things too seriously, but really knowing how to make things fun. You got fun action pieces. You got all the right beats. It moves along with the pacing. Yeah, you got a whole group of bad guys led by Big Forehead Boy. I can't remember his name. He's in Vice Principals. He's got
Walton Goggins?
Yeah. Is that his real name?
Yeah.
It's kind of amazing.
Walton Goggins.
But yeah, he and his band of characters are just kind of thugs that don't really need to be in the movie, but kind of keep things going along. And there's a lot of, we lost the thing. We found it. Oh, it's lost again. But we found it, and it got lost again.
Yeah, the main villain, I think, was compelling, though, because...
Yeah, definitely.
She suffered some kind of physical ailment because she traveled into the quantum realm, and it fucked with her DNA, and she's phasing in and out of, like, our realm and the quantum realm, and that causes her extreme physical pain, and so she's doing these crimes in order to alleviate her suffering, and that's, like, you don't want to hate her for that. You want her to see her succeed, but not at the expense of other people suffering.
Yeah, it was another great complex villain, and you had really interesting relationships between people. And just the overall thing is that essentially the good guys wanted to find this mom character and take her out of this dimension, where the bad guy wanted to kill the mom character because she thought the energy created from killing her would be able to cure her. And just that interplay alone was pretty compelling.
Yeah.
And you had that fun sequence where Paul Rudd is a charming guy. I like Paul Rudd.
Definitely.
But I also feel like he is secretly very, very good at acting.
Probably.
Not overall, but very hyper-specific things he could be very, very good at. And at one point, he was overtaken by the spirit of Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh,
and his impression of Michelle Pfeiffer was so fucking nuanced and detailed, it almost deserves an Oscar. I can imagine that he researched very heavily just the nuances of Michelle Pfeiffer.
It was pretty impressive.
It was, and it was a weird scene, but it was really good.
It was funny, but at the same time, it was heartwarming because you see Michelle Pfeiffer for the first time interacting with her husband, who she hasn't been able to see because she's been stuck in this other realm. And when Paul Rudd takes his hand, it's played off as a joke, but at the same time, I'm just like, wow, they're finally touching, even though it's Paul Rudd touching Michael Douglas.
Yeah, it's actually, that's why it's weird to me, because you kind of wish that the moment that they first interact is with Michelle Pfeiffer's body. So that's a bit spoiled, but it's fine. It's fine.
Really interesting.
Yeah. One thing I gotta point out
is
that Tim Heidecker was in this movie for approximately 3 seconds.
Oh man, what did he do?
He was on the ship being a tour guide or something.
Okay.
But I knew as soon as I saw him, this has to have something to do with On Cinema at the Cinema. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, I think we watched it together.
It's an Adult Swim review show, and they had one instance where Tim Heidecker was in Fantastic Four in real life, and Greg Turkington, the other guy in the review show, was in Ant-Man, and they were both reviewing both movies and clearly favoring one over the other, and it was really funny. So then when I saw that Tim Heidecker was in Ant-Man 2 instead of Greg Turkington, like they have to have done that intentionally for this show.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, I went on Twitter and definitely saw them talking about that. And I expect to see it in another episode of On Cinema at the Cinema. So that's great. I'm happy about that.
With Tim Heidecker, was Eric Wareheim in any Marvel movies?
Not that I know of.
Oh, okay.
I don't know yet.
Huh. Maybe he'll be in Infinity War 2.
Maybe. As Thanos, they just
recast him. Hey, it's me, Thanos.
Hey guys, I'm just real happy a lot of you are dead.
If you could just stay dead, that'd be great.
That would be insane. But yeah, speaking of Infinity War, well, I really liked the movie. It did inevitably have to address Infinity War.
Yeah.
And this movie took place before the events of Infinity War, technically. You kind of wonder, why didn't Ant-Man just drop what he was doing to help on the Infinity War adventure instead of this one? But whatever, you don't need to think about that too much. What bothered me is it's a fun movie outside of the Infinity War events.
Yeah.
So even if you're going to address it in a post-credits scene, you can argue it's removed from the movie, but it's included in your movie-going experience. And it's a huge downer. We don't need to necessarily spoil what happens, but it's not happy.
No.
It's a real bummer. And it's like, you have all these other Marvel movies that have post-credit scenes that might tie into other movies, but they don't bring the whole mood of the movie all the fucking way down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's still pretty consistent.
And all of a sudden, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which was this great, joyful experience, just, oh, fuck. Like, what a downer.
Yeah.
What a bummer. But then, okay, I have to talk about the creepiest scene in all Marvel movies.
Yep.
I don't know if you agree with me on this one.
I think I might.
All right, so now we are in Infinity War era events where half the world's population has disappeared. And this is post credits, like right after all the credits. And you just see this static shot of an apartment building that's just left open. And it holds on it. You're like, what the fuck is happening? and it's kind of quiet, which is ominous. Then you go inside the apartment building, and there's this slow zoom. As you can see very faintly in the background, there's a TV on, and it's kind of got a warning broadcast, be like, beep, like an emergency broadcast kind of thing. So then you're keyed in, like, okay, shit. Like, people are missing. This is really fucking creepy. Like, this isn't the way the world's supposed to be. And then they end this creepy fucking scene by showing a giant ass fucking ant playing the drums and then stopping, and I swear it had like an ant smile on, like, yeah, I did it. And then it ends. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, okay, it was already creepy without the ant. Take the ant on its own. It's a giant fucking ant playing the drums. That's fucking nightmare fuel.
Yep.
And then just put it all together. Like, what it's saying is, this is not the way the world should be. People are missing. They never existed. And there's this ant just playing music over all of it. Like, it's like spitting in God's face. It's so fucking scary.
Yeah.
And I think it was meant to be a joke, like, haha, that ant's playing the drums. What are you doing there, buddy? But it was, I took it in a totally different way. Did you?
Yeah, I did, because the context was the ant was wired to do all the activities Ant-Man did throughout his day because he was under house arrest, and they're like, all right, and he put his house arrest thing on the ant, so it's doing the drums like he did, so that was the setup, but then it was just like, you could have did that joke earlier, I feel like, and it would have worked. But when you put it in this apocalyptic setting, it loses all traces of humor, I feel like.
Yeah, definitely. I completely agree with you. And also, like, it makes it scarier. Because if I saw the ant playing the drums just in the middle of the Ant-Man movie, I'm kind of conditioned to think, all right, the ant makes sense. It's the Ant-Man universe. Fine.
Yeah.
You put the ant playing the drums in an Iron Man movie, it's a little off-putting. I wasn't necessarily ready for ants today. You put it at the end of a horrifying scene showing how wrong the world is. It's the worst place you can put an ant playing drums. Are you kidding me? So yeah, we have the scariest scene in the entire Marvel universe.
And it's paired with one of the funniest movies in the Marvel universe, I'd say.
Yeah. Basically. It's kind of, as wrong as it feels, it's almost amazing. I almost wouldn't have it any other way.
I kind of feel that way too, but still.
Because if you had the scariest scene that came after something a little more serious, like Winter Soldier, it'd be, well, all right. But you have such a high contrast that it's kind of remarkable.
Kinda.
Yeah. Let me see. You know what? I'm going to gamble. I think we have time for one more.
All right. We're going for it.
Gonna see if I can make this happen. Though I'm still owed a few. I'll tally them up later, but next grab bag, you got to make this happen.
I think the last one was on your second, so now aren't you on your third?
No, because you had 6 last time and I had 4.
Okay.
But anyway, this movie was about ants.
Another ant movie. Wow, small world. Literally.
Tag. I was looking at it upside down and saw the A and the T. I'm like, oh shit, ant? Like, like I didn't read it right. I'm like, holy shit! Like,
I don't remember seeing a movie called Ant.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Here, can I share my little background for this real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I didn't want to see this movie. I'm the one that coordinated the two of us going to watch it.
Yep.
But I did not want to do it because I'd just seen so many bad comedies. This looked like it was going to be another bad comedy, and I was starting to feel the burnout. But I went to see it anyway, and I really, really liked it.
Yeah.
Critics did not.
No.
Critically, it seems like it blends in with all the other bad comedies. But what I liked about it is that it was a movie about people taking tag seriously. And I just really dig that premise. But most importantly, comedically, it's a comedy that gets tone right. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, tag is a childhood game. The whole joke is that it's being taken seriously here, and they commit to that. The whole movie is basically about taking tag seriously, and then they cap on top of that is actual emotional resonance about friendship and keeping people together. And it's just exactly what I would want out of a movie about tag. It really is. I really enjoyed it. And it just had funny people with funny jokes, too. I mean, Hannibal Buress, everything out of his mouth was great.
Yeah, pretty much. And even, like, Jeremy Renner and John Hamm, who are normally pretty serious actors, really brought quality comedic performances.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it's perfect. I mean, you have this whole love subplot that goes absolutely fucking nowhere.
Yeah.
Not really necessary, but, I mean, it adds something to it. I'm not upset that it was there.
Yeah. And there were fun cameos, like Thomas Middleditch was a fun character in it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That was before we saw Silicon Valley, which is weird, I think.
That's true. And that was another good example of comedy done right, because he was doing this thing, I'm trying to remember, where he kept calling them gay or something like that.
Yeah.
And at first, I thought that it was another instance of just this lame joke that didn't really fit into the context of the movie, where it took you out because you're thinking, in what world would this character just keep calling these people gay? Why is he repeating it so much? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Right.
And that's something a lot of movies fall into the trap of, is they do a joke at the expense of you believing what's going on. But then you spend enough time with the character and you realize that he's not just a normal guy that's making too many gay jokes. He's actually kind of a weirdo.
Yeah.
That is probably making all these gay jokes because he might be gay himself and he's projecting. And it makes sense. And I was so scared at first when, the movie's slipping up. But then they're like, gotcha! It's actually, no, we know what we're doing. And I was just, maybe the bar's that low, but so much of my enjoyment was the fact that it was competent. Like, wow, man, they're not fucking up.
It was refreshing to see a mainstream comedy not pull too many low punches, too many easy jokes. These jokes, I think, were, for the most part, pretty well thought out. Yeah. And set in the context of the movie, and not just random.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'd really recommend Tag. It spoke to me particularly because I like the idea of adults feeling like they can still do things that are deemed childish. I mean, why can't adults play tag? Why not?
Right.
So that spoke to me specifically. Mm-hmm. But I feel that it's solid. Nick, I just thought of something.
What?
If I pick one more movie out of this hat, then we're going to be all squared away.
Oh, yeah, I'm all about that.
Because I'll have picked 6, you'll have picked 4, and it'll be the inverse of last time, and then we can get back to normal. So this movie that I'm going to pick, and I'll shuffle these up real good, this is going to be the movie that brings us back to normalcy.
Oh, man.
You ready for this nice normal movie?
Yes.
All right.
So normal.
Here we go. Blindspotting.
Ooh. I mean, I didn't see it, but from what I've heard, it's a movie that is not normal and is very profound and powerful. Is that fair to say?
It's really interesting that the lead-in joke was that this is going to bring things back to normal, because it's very much a movie that I suppose highlights how normal is broken right now. It's very much about racial tensions. And it tackles that in a very raw, real, no-holds-barred kind of way. But it's also really funny. They just have characters that are very realistic. And you understand them. You get how they exist in this world. And from that, you derive a lot of comedy, but also a lot of just genuinely tense moments. There's a moment where the black main character is just walking down a road and a police car is behind him, and you just feel this horror for the black character, because the black character witnessed like another black guy getting shot by a cop, which is sort of the impetus for this movie. Like, it more drives the tension of the movie,
right,
less so than the actual plot. But just this moment, you don't know what the cop's deal is. You don't know why the cop's there, but you just see the lights and you feel the horror in this character.
Wow.
Just everything about it was freaky. It's just kind of amazing to me. That was an amazing scene, just capturing the anxiety of being pulled over when racial tensions be high.
Pulled over when black.
Yeah, well, that's, yes.
Yeah.
But it's a musical.
What?
Yeah.
No.
It is.
No.
You don't believe me?
No.
It is actually genuinely a musical. You still don't believe me.
No.
It is a musical.
I can't.
You're sure that
They
I'm
should have
joking, but
had
I'm not.
At least one number in the trailers. I saw trailers and there was no singing.
Well, to be fair, I don't know that you saw characters singing in the La La Land trailers. You just heard the singing.
Huh.
And most musicals these days, the trailers don't really tell you it's going to be a musical. I don't think The Greatest Showman, I think that might have had singing in it. Apparently Smallfoot, which is coming out soon, that's a fucking musical.
I would not have guessed that.
Yep. But it's really, you got a black guy and a white guy, and they're two bros, and they're best friends, and they get along really, really well. But the movie tackles just right on toward the end of it, their relationship in terms of the worlds they live in and the racial tensions. Like at one point, there's a big argument that they're having, and the black friend is basically yelling at the white friend to use the N-word.
Ooh.
And it's fascinating. It's real raw stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a musical.
You fuck with me sometimes. So
When have I ever... Okay, yeah, you're right.
I don't know what to believe.
Okay. It is not the most official musical in the world, and I can understand people coming out of it and not thinking that it's a musical, but here's my argument as to why. There are multiple moments, and especially one very pivotal moment toward the end of the movie, where things are done through rap. And it's not performative rap like it's happening in the context of the movie. They're on a stage or something like that. It is clearly the style of breaking out into song like you'd see in Disney movies and things like that, the classic musicals, and it's done in rap. And some people will argue, well, if it's rap, it's not a musical. I'm like, well, that's basically saying rap's not music.
Which is, bullshit.
So that's a dirty game to play right there. It's musical rules with rapping, but there's definitely at least one moment where that for sure is happening, but I'm pretty sure there's 3 total. So it's not the most bulky musical, but it has enough instances of it where I feel like it fits the bill.
Do background singers join in?
No. You don't need background
No, I
singers
know,
to
but
join in.
like, I was just picturing if it's following some musical rules, sometimes...
It's just the vague, bare-bone musical rules. In fact,
gotcha.
It's only the main character that really has these moments, but
No one else?
No.
Okay. Huh.
They are moments, though, and it works really well, too. It's a little odd, because it doesn't happen as often, you are kind of left thinking, oh, this kind of came out of nowhere a little bit, but it works so well. Basically, it works in the same way of having a character just turn to the audience and suddenly deliver a really dramatic monologue. It's kind of like that.
Okay.
And after it plays out, and I'm referring specifically to the last big shebang rap number, you're just like, I'm so glad they chose to do it that way. If he was just talking, it just would not have been nearly as powerful. I mean, music can just get you to the next level sometimes, man. And
Yeah.
wow.
Sounds really gutsy in terms of both the style it was made and the themes, but especially the bold choice to do, like, monologue music.
Yeah. And it's not the most extraordinary story in the world, but the storytelling is really good. It's a really solid comedy. It's a really solid drama. And together, it just meshes really well. It's a movie I highly recommend.
Yeah, I've been trying to see it, but...
I hear a lot of people talking about BlacKkKlansman, Sorry to Bother You, and stuff like that. Blindspotting way up there. Needs some attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. It's all right. I guess we can focus on Blinkity Bloop now.
Mm-hmm.
Got another one of these in the can.
Yeah.
Oh, this is brought to you by Fishermist Media, of course. Go to Fishermist Media for all of your movie needs, specifically audio. But Fishermist Media does audio, and specifically, they'll do audio for movies. You know what I'm saying? So you got a big movie, you need audio work done, come to Fishermist Media. They'll hook you up.
Or a little movie.
That's true. Any kind of movie. Big movies are definitely a preference.
Oh, yeah.
Also, you can come to Fishermist Media for music, podcasts, pretty much anything audio. But
Audiobooks.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Cool. So, I guess we're done. We're out of here.
Yeah, all right. Let's get going.
Oh, hey.
What?
I was fucking off on my phone like an unprofessional here.
Uh-huh.
Guess who emailed me?
Who?
That wasn't a guess. I'll let that slide. You don't have to guess.
Okay.
You should guess, though.
One of our
It was Mrs. Seelan.
Okay. I was going to say one of our bandmates, but then I realized they never text us back. So
Yeah. Well, this is crazy. This is kind of crazy.
crazy.
Mrs. Seelan actually sent an email.
That is pretty mind-boggling.
Yeah, I'm so used to just not seeing emails from Mrs. Seelan. So here we go.
Okay.
I'm going to read it.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to read it.
Oh.
Then let's stop recording first.